Hi everyone, welcome. We are here to celebrate Youth Skills Day, International Youth Skills Day by UN. I'm so glad that this event organized by Dr. Anita in collaboration with Titus 10 Foundation in Ohio, Cleveland, and with Youth for Human Rights International and Guardians of Human Rights, Florida. We keep coming up with our podcast and our interviews as well as talk shows on human rights, on youth empowerment, women empowerment, men empowerment, human rights education, as well as human rights training. So we are so glad to celebrate this day, International Youth Skills Day, 15th July. I welcome Dr. Anita on board, and thank you so much for collaborating with me and for organizing this event. And yes, talking about UN General Assembly declared 15th July World Youth Skills Day. Why? To celebrate the strategic importance of equipping youth people with skills for employment and for work and for the entrepreneurship when it comes to youth entrepreneurship. Okay, so we came up to celebrate. So happy International Youth Skills Day, Dr. Anita. Since being youth, you started a chain as well as me, and we both are doing a lot of things on human rights, even with youth. So it's our day. So we're gonna celebrate this day. So welcome on board, and over to you. You say a few words on this day.
Yes, welcome everyone to this program. This is the United Nations Youth Skills Day, as Dr. Dots has already shared with us. And I want to share with you the theme for this year. It is Youth Skills for Peace and Development. In 2014, the United Nations General Assembly declared July 15th as World Youth Skills Day to celebrate the strategic importance of equipping young people with skills for employment, decent work, and entrepreneurship. So the theme again is youth skills for peace and development. Of course, I love this theme. I love this idea because in order for us to get to employment and entrepreneurship, we have to have that educational piece. And as a nursing professor, that's what I have the privilege to do every day. So the two of us together, since we work in human rights, it's a perfect fit for us to talk about empowerment and talk about employment and talk about education, all the E's. So today is a great day. I'm excited for all the young people that have graduated, those who are on the way to graduate from different programs, different degrees, all the things that they are doing. So Dr. Shaleen Das, tell us about youth empowerment and what you do in human rights and some tips for the young people.
Dr. Anita, if I talk about my journey and what I'm doing, then I might not end the webinar today, what we are having. But still, I will just talk in a short brief. Yeah, talking about India. Okay, first of all, I'm not in India right now. I'm in Middle East right now. I'm in Doha, Qatar. I came here to do a survey on youth uh, empowerment as well as youth projects as well as UN projects in Doha, Qatar. Okay, and they do entertain youth program as well as youth human rights trainings and human rights education, knowledge management, and human rights documentation. Talking about me, like today is Youth Skills Day, the theme from UN. I started a chain to educate all the young ones regarding their fundamental rights. But to empower youth, to educate youth, you need to have the subject, you need to have the curriculum in the education sector. If you don't have that, how you going to bring among the young ones? You need to forecast that, you need to push that ahead. But unfortunately, if I talk about India, it's there widely, but the thing is they don't know the term of human rights and youth empowerment. They know they have youth clubs, they have youth corner in some universities, but what are the projects with youth empowerment with human rights? This is missing in India. So I brought human rights education as a compulsory one in India, in Indian universities, as well as in Calcutta, Raipur, worldwide, even in United States, as well as in Nigeria. I did, I have educated more than 90,000 young ones during lockdown in African continent, okay, in Ghana, in Kenya, in Mauritius, Cape Town, Nigeria is of course there. So it has been very much challenging because you know what, being a youth, when we talk about human rights and youth empowerment, unfortunately, this is missing because young ones are just running after the skills that they are going to study hospitality, they're going to study, medical, they're going to study management, they're going to study this and that. But the thing is, this is a life skills, human
Mhm.
rights education and youth empowerment. This is a life skill tool which will help you in your living standards, okay, when it comes to relationship, marriages, because I believe being a human being, we all are performing on this world. It's a life stage and forum for us. We are just playing our duties and role, but main duties come up when you take responsibilities, when you know, from a child you become an adolescent, from that you become adult, from that you face a lot of, steps. Because in you, in life, I believe we play a lot of roles, like from a girl child to a lady, from a lady, from a wife, from a mother. So when you know your tools and skills, it might help you, because you know what, we talk about youth empowerment, but we don't talk about grooming young minds.
Yeah.
Grooming young minds is very important nowadays because people are getting into addiction, people are getting hypnotized, people are getting, addicted to drugs, addicted to dry weeds, something like that, smoking clubs, and all these things. And they are forgetting their real life meaning and the purpose. They don't have any purpose. Only they have a purpose, what? Of seeing the world. Some people are having an iPhone, I should have that. Some people are going to club, I should go there. But this is not the life purpose. Okay. Even I'll see there's a missing in parenting also. Okay. Now parenting is very much important, because if mommy daddy is giving birth, that's just not the end meaning. They should know how to bring a child. Okay. And even every teacher, they should bring this kind of skills, life skills, human rights skills, youth empowerment skills in education curriculum. Then only you are advancing the child, that if you
Mhm.
there are any problem in life, how to overcome and how to face that. Look, maybe I'm a young girl right now, I have grown up, I got married, and I have ended up a very bad relationship. I'm facing horrific abuses, torture, so many things. But I don't know how to overcome that and how to protest and how to take stance, because I was not, aware of it. Nobody gave me any lessons about it. If somebody have given me on the right time, then maybe I know that no, this is just going out of my limit. Why should I tolerate a bad marriage or bad relationship? So this is called the basic importance of empowerment. Now I'm coming, youth empowerment. Youth empowerment is a process where children and young people are encouraged to take the charge of their own lives. The thing which what I said right now, that if I'm not aware of it, I'm not going to take a charge of my own life. What is normal? What is abnormal? What's happening right with me? What's happening wrong with me? People can really address the situation and can take action in order to improve their access to resource and to bring a transformation in any situation through their beliefs, values, and attitudes, which is very important. This is all about youth empowerment. Because, see, uh, you know, I'm talking about India, like Indian people, they're saying, like, if a young, if say anything, any events are happening, any intents are going on, like, maybe, in family, people have came up and some marriage talks are going on, and maybe the groom side came up and talking about and asking for dowry, family sitting. If, suppose a young kid, if he or she is knowledgeable and takes stand, no, this is wrong, this is not going to happen with my sister, brother, then the opposite person will say, hey, you sit down because you're a young kid. You have no rights to say. Please
Wow.
keep down. Let the elder talk about it. Why? This is wrong. And if a kid is able to understand that no, this is the bad thing is going to take place in my family, I have the right. I can stop them. I can be rebellious. I can be bold. Then that's called youth empowerment. And that's the benefit. The young child is clever and sensible enough to understand and to predict from now the thing which is happening. They came up with the intention that's wrong. So this is the youth empowerment is all about. Now over to you.
Wow, excellent, excellent. I love how you mentioned about having proper access. And that's one of the things that I was going to mention also. So we're in the same vein. So that's good. So this whole like event today, this so the whole reason, that they are pursuing talking about the United Nations Youth Skills Day is because we want children, young people, young adults to be able to develop their skills, right? And
Mhm.
you mentioned about them having access to be empowered, right? Because certain people in certain places get access to better
Mhm.
things, whereas other people are not having those opportunities. So I came up with an acronym actually to describe the education side for this. And before I share that, I just wanted to mention one of the things that is very helpful for you to understand, and I know you're aware of this, Dr. Das, is the youthforhumanrights.org. And there's a free e-course to explain the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As you mentioned, a lot of young people are unaware of their rights. They're unaware of their privileges. And so it helps us to be able to share these things with people, with the young people, because once you tell one young person, you've told 20, right? They're going to tell their friends, they're going to share with other young people. So the acronym that I came up with to kind of help our young people be thinking about education and opportunities is peace, because being peacemakers, those who are ambassadors for peace, those who are promoting peace, like all human rights individuals do, there are five things that can often inhibit education among young people. And there are solutions to each of those five things. So the first one is poverty. Right. So when young people are growing up in a situation and they don't have the financial resources to go to college, to go to school, to pay school fees, to do those things, it inhibits their education because they just don't have the money to pay for the same opportunities as someone else. And so we run into issues with equity, with this person who lives over here able to get education where this young person cannot. And so even what I mentioned earlier about having access to go online to see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Somebody may have internet access where someone else does not. And so those types of things can affect a young person's learning. And then secondly is the E for the environment, where you grow up in, wherever your situation is in that environment can be detrimental to a young person's education. If you have a mom or dad who doesn't care about your learning, then you may not be motivated to even attend school. You may miss classes because parents can't transport. There may be issues with them being able to have health and be in a clean environment if the parents both smoke or drink, or if your environment is toxic in some other kind of way, maybe affecting your mental health, your physical health. So, all of those things can affect a young person's education if they don't have access, if they don't have the things that are required to make their environment something that is going to be conducive to good learning. And then thirdly is access. You want young people to be able to have the same learning opportunities as others. And so even today at United Nations, UNESCO, ILO, and the UN Youth Office are all gathering together to talk about this situation. To how can we improve young people's skills? How can we equip them and give them the good access that they need? So sometimes that access is having a computer. Sometimes that access is access to books so they can have structured learning. Sometimes that access might look like having teachers. There is a great shortage of teachers here in my country in the United States, where the teachers are getting older. There are fewer people interested in teaching. That's a barrier
Mhm.
for young people. So now we have to encourage some who are graduating to become teachers so that there
Mhm.
is a future for others to follow later on. Then the C in peace is for conflict. A lot of young people are in the middle of war. They're in the
Mhm.
middle of just all types of conflicts and political scandal and hardships that are making it difficult for them to concentrate while learning, while in school. And so that's another thing, just the conflict and being able to concentrate, being able to pick a side and being educated about what is happening. A lot of young people are conflicted because maybe their mom is in one political sphere and their dad is doing something different, and it's causing tension in the household. Or if you're an older young adult trying to decide how to vote, and should I vote for this person or that person? And then there's war torn places where you literally don't even have a structure for a school building. Their college is gone. It was ripped apart by the tornado. They don't have, this because of war. There's weapons around them. And so they're scared, they're anxious, they're concerned about the future and maybe even staying alive. Their families may be dealing with some difficulty with trying to decide, is this going to be something we can even continue? And so young people in conflict are especially in my heart as of late, as a Red Cross disaster volunteer, working with those who have experienced a current disaster. Many of them are in conflict zones or they've had a natural disaster and the learning is gone. Like there is no school day. There is nothing for the young
Mhm.
people to go to. There's no way to contact their teachers or their classmates. And of course, there's no structured learning environment. And so, yes, they have the right to education, but they can't be educated because of the conflict. So, conflict can be inside their own home. It could be a neighborhood conflict or it could be a national conflict. But in any case,
Mhm.
when there is conflict, there is an issue for the young people to have the access that they need for education. And then the E is for equipment. How many young people do not have basic necessities just to get educated? Paper, pen, a watch, a classroom. They may not even have food for the day. And that really disrupts your learning when you can't concentrate because you haven't had a meal. You haven't had breakfast. So my stomach is growling, making all the noises, and I'm trying to concentrate on math problems. It's not going to work. You can't pass tests well if you don't have a desk to sit in. You're sitting in the grass, you're sitting under a tree, you're sitting on a rock, you haven't slept the night before. These are like basic things. In nursing school, I teach about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you start at this bottom rung, just the basic things that everyone needs: food, clothing, shelter, water, a place to relieve yourself. All of these just basic things hinder so many young people's education throughout the world. And they have difficulty concentrating, difficulty learning, difficulty trying to get to the next grade because they don't have basics. And so
Yes.
finding a way to help the people who are the most disadvantaged is my heart. And so even with the Titus 10 Foundation, we have tried to pour into young people and not just give them money, but let's build a well. Let's actually have them hire a teacher because they don't have a teacher. Let's make sure they have food and clothing and shelter. Let's build a structure, those types of things. You want to make sure that there is options for young people everywhere. You want to make sure that they have what they need basically so that they can go ahead and get everything that is required, everything that they need for a basic school day. So once again, we're talking about the United Nations Youth Skills Day. And I mentioned about the free e-course youthforhumanrights.org that goes through the huge Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And today in my country, in New York, they are talking about celebrating Youth Skills Day 2024 and the permanent missions of Portugal and Sri Lanka to the United Nations in collaboration with UNESCO ILO and United Nations Youth Office is convening in panel discussions today with all of the member states and with young people, with the ambassadors there, with their social partners, with stakeholders to talk about young people. And I'm so excited that this is happening. So, Dr. Shaleen Das, my question for you now is as an empowerment speaker, as one who travels to colleges on a regular basis, you actually have the opportunity to travel and to go to other continents, to other countries, and to speak to other people about their human rights. What is the one of the biggest things that the young people want? What do they really desire the most? You teach them about human rights and what they have access to, but then what do they ask you about?
Oh, that's an amazing question. Thanks for asking me this question. The thing is, after doing this noble work, which I started in India, even in worldwide, that who took a mission being a youth that no, I'll empower all the young ones and I'll make human rights education a compulsory one in India. Though UGC, they already passed a bill, but unfortunately, we don't have a professor and trainer who can give trainings on this field. That's why this is missing everywhere in education sector, which I just mentioned before, few minutes back. The young one, they always wanted to know regarding their fundamental rights. Okay, what are the rights that a young person uh, have 24/7 and 365 days with them?
Mhm.
And what are the empowerment skills after knowing how bold, rebellious, and self reliant and self independent they're becoming when it comes to their mentality and in terms of positive vibes? And of course, human rights, the 30 human rights article, which were passed in the year of 1948, because as I said, that whether it's a human rights education or youth empowerment, it's missing. That's why young people, they do not know. That's why it's still now everywhere there is bullies, there are ragging, people are killing each other because they think this person is someone who's just coming from different community or background, but no, they are same people like you. So they don't know, like in universities and colleges, even in school, how to welcome new people, new friends in their group. And that's why still now, being so educated, coming in this modern era, modern uh, period, still now in medical colleges, a few months back in Kerala South, in one medical colleges, he was the veterinary student. He died out of ragging.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and even in Kolkata, a few months back, even one 17 years old plus minor boy, even he died. They pushed him towards death because the boys group used to rag him out. Okay, so still now ragging is there. There is no human rights, no youth for human no human rights, no youth empowerment sessions, and no anti ragging acts. So young people need to groom their self, and this should be totally get you know important, and priority should be there in universities for young adults. Because when we send our children, our known people, our brothers, sisters, cousins, nephew, niece, after passing their 12th grade to a university, that's a new world for them, because they were into this shell where family, everybody was there to protect them. But when they're heading towards university, they're going and staying in a hostel, meeting new people, sharing rooms with somebody. So you never know how who's that person is and what's that person intention. And just because of lack of human rights education, lack of youth empowerment sessions, huge problem in mental wise. Not they are not okay in terms of their men, mental needs, and their likings, what they want, what they expect from the others. Because grooming is not up to the mark. And that's why people are getting crazy. People are getting mad. Few days back, one incident happened in Bombay. Young people were celebrating their birthday with three boys. So the guy was giving birthday party. They were drinking, and the drink got less for them. What the rest friend do? The rest friend, pushed him from the fifth floor
Oh my
out of
goodness.
argument that why there is a less, drink alcohol got arranged for them. So we knew the friends is need, friends is indeed, friends are like family who will showcase the good part, the bad part. If I'm somebody's friend, if I love somebody, can I kill somebody? Can I take somebody's life? But nowadays the young mind's mind got so toxic. I'll use the word toxic, that they are just crazy like hell. And that's why so many domestic violence coming up. Few minutes back, Anita, when I was listening to your speech, yes, indeed, United Nations is doing a lot for on youth empowerment and human rights. But my question is that how many individual, how many young ones, and how many families, member, teachers, they can reach to UN? They can be a part of UN. They can be a part of this kind of noble causes, this kind of events. UN is an organization, they are doing, but there are a lot of people who cannot think of going to UN so easily. To take part in this kind of events, they need money. Traveling to United States, traveling to UN, it's not that easy. So yes, that's why it's totally nowadays still a lot of people they don't know. A lot of people are not getting chance to groom themselves, to take this kind of sessions, to have, to motivate themselves, to know about this kind of skills and summit where they can learn something. That's
And a
why I
lot of
started a chain
empowerment.
in India.
Yes, a lot of empowerment has to happen at the ground level in a local
Yes,
community because, like you said, they
yes.
can't get to United
Hmm.
Nations. They're not always able to have a voice. The people who need a voice the most are the ones that are often silenced. And so, if you're trying to make a change in an environment, it has to literally start at home. It has to start in the community. If a community
Even
can
I'll say,
together and pick itself
home.
up, there's hope.
Yeah, even I'll say home is there, but half of the parents, they themselves don't know what is empowerment and what is human rights and how the kids will learn. So this should be there in a wide range in education sector, in school and in colleges. And that's what I started a chain in India to bring this in education sectors. And I have taught thousands of millions in universities, and upcoming project my upcoming project is in Army Management Institute College. That's an army college where mostly students are from army family, army background. And that's an MBA college where I'm going to take sessions and deliver lectureship on human rights education next month. Yeah, in India.
And that's
So
powerful
yeah.
too, to be able to go and to speak to people where they are. I think a lot of times
Mhm,
people think if they just like talk to people from a distance that they'll get it, but they don't always understand. If you don't speak
mhm,
their language, if you don't understand the culture, if you don't realize
mhm,
the family structure, if you don't know who you're talking to, that makes you not as great of a speaker. You need to understand who your audience is so that you can speak to their situation. Because certain places, I've talked about human rights and they're that's illegal here. Like we can't do that here, right? So certain aspects of human rights and that Universal Declaration of Human Rights are not universal. It is a
yes.
declaration and it's accepted by
Mm,
many, but not accepted
mm,
by all. And I think when people
yes.
realize that culture, ethics, and people's religion plays a huge part in if those human rights are even implemented, it
Mm,
changes just the whole configuration of how you present and how you share and how you speak to people in these situations
mm,
because not everyone has the same economic opportunities. We mentioned those things, those five things that I mentioned that are the acronym for peace: the poverty, the environment, the access, the conflict, and the equipment. A lot of times, just the inequalities there make a huge difference. Your economic equality inequalities are going to inhibit your access. sometimes your environment is inhibiting the opportunities. And so if we can speak to them in their language, sometimes I need an interpreter. I've had an interpreter interpret for me before, right? Those types of things, then it's even more helpful because you are able to truly give people what they need, how they need it, and not just in the way you would experience in your country.
Right. And like, here are a few things which I would love to talk in detailing since we are covering this topic. There are difference between youth empowerment and youth development. Youth empowerment is different from youth development because development is centered on developing individuals. But while we talk about empowerment, empowerment only focus on creating greater community change, relies on development on individual capacities. Then empowerment is, uh, empowerment cover up and address a great wide gateway to equity, which you just mentioned, and then civic engagement and democracy building, and fewer activities which focus on youth led media when it comes to youth rights, when it comes to youth councils, when it comes to youth activism, when it comes to youth involvement in community, and when the main thing, which I already said, youth decision making method. If I'm a youth, if I don't know how to make my own decisions, every time mommy, daddy, sisters, and brothers, they're not going to come and tell me what I'm going to do, right?
Mhm.
And even decision making skills, I'll say, it's just not on youth empowerment, even on women empowerment, even on men empowerment. Every individual should know decisions making skills. Few people are there, they're not able to decide after 12 what they will study, what they will do, if they met a bad incident, or they are feeling something bad, how to escape and run away from that situation, how to act smart, how to look for a good boyfriend, girlfriend, how to judge a person, to choose them as their life partner, whether it's a wife or husband. They're not even to decide. Okay. So
When some people think
decision
about
making
empowerment,
skills.
they think about money and they don't think about decision making, as you mentioned. Like
Hmm.
you should be empowered to make decisions for yourself. You should be empowered to know
Yes,
steps that it takes to how do you buy a home? How do I even decide what college to go to? They need to be educated about
exactly.
sex. They need to be educated about safety. A lot of people don't
Hmm.
know basic safety things, how to protect yourself, and so there's just
Hmm.
a lot with empowerment, and it's more than just
Hmm.
money. I work with one organization, and when they talk about empowerment, they're talking about money. Like, let's go to this
Hmm.
neighborhood and empower them. And they
Hmm.
mean let's write a check. Let's
Hmm.
give them some money. Let's, make sure they have financial means, which is a type of empowerment. But then there's
Hmm.
also just empowerment of knowing
Hmm.
your human rights, because that empowers you itself. Because now I know my rights, that means you don't have the right to detain me. You don't have the right to inhibit me from my religion. You don't have the right to stop me from getting an education. And I know that that's part of my human rights. And so that's an important point that you made.
Yes. And see, Dr. Anita, like, I believe one thing, and each and every session, I just say my young students, it's not about money. It's not about who you are, where you come from. It's not about what you do. It's all about you. You are a human being.
Right.
People should respect and value you. And a person who is bringing and showcasing, trying to put you down and just not respecting you who you are, just after money, what you have, what you don't have, then always think they have some intention. They don't love you who you are. They are just fascinated or attracted towards you just because what you have. And a real person will love you if you have something. If you don't have something, that then also the real person will love you. And I'd say in general friendship, when it comes to friendship, kids are just like a flowers, like a little god. They don't have any discrimination. They don't have any negativity. They don't have any toxic thing. thinking in their soul and mind. They welcome everybody. But when they grow up, when they stay in a community, parents are the one who just puts negativity, you know, inside the brain. Hey, don't talk to that guy. That person is so rich. Hey, don't make friendship with that girl. That girl is not under your category. Who are we to judge that I belong to this category or that category or not? Do we have any category? Do we have any status? No. A person who will love me will be with me if I have something, if I don't have something, if I'm nothing also, if I'm something also. That's what I believe. So this need to be taught. So yes, empowerment, human rights is really, really required. As we discussed, that UN is an organization, they're trying the best to reach a lot of people, to spread awareness. But nobody can get associated with UN so easily, because UN is not collaborating with universities and schools and education, what the normal job, what I'm doing here in India. So that every individual should know from the ground level, from the grassroots, from the community. And then, as I said, if I talk about me, we might not end our webinar. It will take a long time. So it's a huge story. I'll definitely share with you when I'm there in the United States, in UN with you for sure. But the thing what we are doing every day, we are bringing new topics, subjects, to reach a lot of people, to spread the voices, human rights, empowerment, men, women, kid. It's a noble cause what we both are doing. And that credit goes to you. And not only you, even Titus 10 Foundation, because few minutes back you just mentioned there are a lot of kids, they don't have the stationery, pencil, book, pen to read, to have their booklets, educations. But I know Titus 10 Foundation, they give sponsorships and scholarship. Few months back, they have sent a lot of goodies, tools to Pakistan to help those kids for their education. So I'm so glad to collaborate with Titus 10 Foundation and with you. And we will do a lot of projects and a lot of work in future for sure.
Wonderful. Well, now I just want to open it up to anyone who wanted to share with us. If you have a question for Dr. Das or myself, the floor is open for you if you have a question or comment.
Right. And my organization is Youth for Human Rights, www.youthforhumanrights.org, and Guardians of Human Rights Florida Foundation. If anybody wants to get connect with me, I'm there on Instagram, Dr. Shaleen Das, Youth Empowerment Speaker, and Dr. Shaleen Das Twinkie. That's my Facebook ID. People can get in touch with us, and we both come up live on Instagram, even on lots of social media, and we bring a lot of seminar sessions. Or if anybody wants to join us, you people are most welcome.
Yes, and here you can reach me at AnitaMckaney.com. We are both certified. I'm certified through the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights. I would be glad to speak with you or with groups about human rights. My background is nursing, and I'm a nursing professor as well as an ambassador, author, and teacher. And so I would be delighted to answer any questions that you have about human rights or about young people, because I've worked with many in my over 10-year history of teaching as an educator. And so it's been a privilege and a wonderful opportunity. Thanks to those who have joined us on today. Thank you, Dr. Das, for your time and your expertise and sharing with us today. It's been a privilege. So from us to you in the U.S. and in India, God bless you and your families and your young people. Until next time.
Thank you so much for having me.